Hello guys and girls, thanks for stopping by. In today's video I'm going to discuss something that is going to help you if you fish long range, so commonly on a gravel pit for bream for instance, although you can target many species with this, but primarily yes, it's used for long distance fishing when accuracy is key, and as we know, targeting many species, accuracy is so important. Getting that swim built up with pinpoint accuracy when it comes to putting the feed in, to fishing right on top of that feed, can be the difference to whether you bag up or not catch at all. So I'll give you a scenario. You've turned up to a really big gravel pit. It's typically quite windy on this gravel pit, as most of them are very open, big expanses of water, and you're thinking, right, I need to hit them fish on a certain depth. You've perhaps done your research, fished there before, and know where shelves are, bars are, plateaus are, and you know where fish hold up, but you're thinking that's a real good chuck out there. So you then go and pull out your traditional style, lead-sided feeders, and you think, right, I'm going to get some bait out first of all, and you're out there and swaying around in the wind, and it's not quite getting where you need to be. Well, if you haven't heard of this following product, I strongly suggest that you perhaps do some more research. I've only used it a few times now, targeting bream on a gravel pit, but I must admit I'm very impressed with the accuracy. So without further ado, I'll stop babbling on and show you what it is. So it's the distance feeder from Preston. This is a fantastic product, something that you really need to consider. I'm in no way endorsed by Preston, and there are other varieties out there, but I can only go by what I've used to help you catch more in 2024. So they come in an array of different sizes and different weights. So you can get the larger cage with a smaller weight than this and a heavier weight. This is the second heaviest, I believe, at 55 grams. And how Preston do it, they say, well, size is calculated by the amount of squares. So this is a 6 square feeder. The largest, so what I wanted to do was use it to get bait out very quickly at the start of my session, bang, 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 get a lot of bait out, which it did help me to achieve. I started that particular session with 10 of these, pure ground bait, quite a wet ground bait. I was sort of casting it a little bit further than, just tiny bits further than my desired range, and then pulling it back through just to create that sort of scent trail, that bed on the bottom to attract them lovely bream in. So, but no, these are great. So how they're made up is obviously metal, similar to a cage feeder. All the weight is at the bottom, and I think that's key for getting that long distance with accuracy, targeting as we do to a tree or non-moving object to the other bank, to be able to pinpoint. And I've fished this in windy days where it's swaying, and that's pretty much bang on the money every cast. Obviously it matters what rods and reels you're using as well, of course. If you're new to the sport, it's always important to make sure you've got the appropriate tackle, but where it comes to terminal end tackle, this will get you there. So what we got here then, so obviously we discussed the lead all at the bottom, the weight at the bottom, the cage feeder effect, which will obviously allow, as it's dropping through, if you're fishing more of a dry ground bait, that's of course going to allow a cloud as it goes down, especially if you're fishing deep water, and then you create your swim that way. But you can fish a stickier mix, which will hold down to the bottom more so, and then you can pull it through like you would when you're starting to create a swim, build up a swim. But then further up we've got this crimpling, which onto the boom, which is a real thick monofilament. Now, that's something a little bit different, but I've got a lot of faith in that. I don't think that's going to go anywhere too soon, And then I've got another product which I've started to use, which has totally changed my view of how I'm going to fish feeder fishing from now on, and that's the feeder bead by Preston as well, which is great. You've got the quick change link. So give you an example, I got the bream on the go with just a ground bait and a few particles. Then I wanted to keep the bream there, so I switched over to the window feeder from Preston to get a lot of bait out, keep them fish there. If you haven't seen a window feeder, please check out my channel. I've got a video up on that already. Again, another fantastic bit of kit. So yeah, you can switch over with these feeder beads then, but I'll put another video of these feeder beads and why I feel that perhaps you should try choosing them to obviously help you catch more in 2024. But no, great feeder. You can get a great distance, great accuracy with this. If you're a bit like me, always use traditional cage feeder or plastic feeder, you know, open-ended with lead on the side, and you're a bit skeptical, then it's worth a go. Also, a good point to note is when it hits the bottom, it's obviously going to sit like that, which is very different to your conventional traditional feeder that's going to sit like that, right? So, you know, ideally you want to fish a good tail with it, with this particularly, but it's obviously worth changing your tails. As you know, if you fish for bream and roach on the feeder, it's always good to chop and change, because fish wise up, you know, when you swim, they might not disappear, but they'll wise up. But that's another video that I'm going to cover. So this will obviously sit like this, depending on your bait that you've put in here. Either all of it's going to go out or it's going to stay in. You know, it all depends on the consistency of your ground bait, of course. But then as you get a bite, you're obviously going to strike and it's going to go like this. Now, why is this important? Now, fishing at distance, in the warmer months, you might be finding a bed of weed and you'll find the fish are over the weed. Well, this is going to help with that, so it's not going to snag up in the weed. It's going to lift the fish, help lift the fish higher, quicker, out of them snags. You wouldn't typically expect a lot of debris like trees or logs in the water, you know, at that distance, but you never know. We've had real strong winds, you know, it can drift and then sink. So it gives you that peace of mind. But bite detection as well, especially with these feeder beads that I touched on a second ago, second to none. So yeah, there's a few good reasons there why you should just give them a go. I mean, I was a little bit skeptical. It's a little bit different. If you're used to fishing a certain way, you know, certain, you know, traditional methods for so long, I get it. You know, I grew up with them traditional lead-sided feeders, but no, really impressed. 10 out of 10, Preston. I'm gonna certainly implement these when I'm fishing big waters. You know, accuracy is key to get that bait out, to get that swim built up, you know, when you've really got to search for them fish at distance. So, you know, thanks for stopping by, guys. Feel free to subscribe if you want. If you don't want to, no problem. You know, please comment if you've used these before, or if you've got any questions about them. I will pop a description in the comments, you know, where you can jump onto Preston's website and have a look. I'm in no way endorsed, so I won't get any money for that. But you know, the aim of this channel is to help you catch more fish this year and beyond. So yeah, please look out for more hints and tips. My time on the bank targeting many different species that are upcoming throughout this year and beyond. And if you're fishing this weekend or for the foreseeable, tight lines, and I wish you the best of luck.